Hello, Scorpio. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Scorpio is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Scorpio, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And here's the Hierophant. The Hierophant is a very wise card. You know, this is somebody who really knows what their standards are. Yeah, somebody that knows what is sacred. I feel like you're somebody who is not going to settle. You're not going to just go pick the low-hanging fruit. You want the best one. You have standards, you have goals, you have expectations. You may be a little bit of a perfectionist, but I think you're learning how to just kind of, how to go a little bit easier on things or on yourself. Now, you can have very high standards, but you don't have expectations that everybody is and everything is going to meet those standards, you know. But you do have kind of a building code, I guess. You know what you want in life, and you're not taking any shorts. You're not taking any losses, you know. There are standards for you. And I think that you have kind of a confidence about you right now. And I don't think you are always so confident, but right now it feels like nobody can really convince you otherwise. Nobody could, the opinions of other people aren't really getting through to you. And I think that's such a good thing, because normally you're a little bit more susceptible to other people's opinions. I feel like right now you got your own opinions, you got your own beliefs, your own values, and nobody's pushing you around. I think that's really, really good. Let's put this card into some context and let's see what is going on. The Hierophant is also a very good advice giver. There we have a Knight of Cups. We have an Eight of Cups. There's the Seven of Swords. There's the opinions of other people behind you. Okay? Not affecting you. You're moving forward based on what you truly desire. You are building the life that you desire. And you're not really listening to other people right now. There's the Princess of Pentacles and the Ten of Pentacles. Yes. You are headed toward massive abundance, because you're listening to your own voice, not those people. You're investing in what feels right, what seems right for you, and you're headed towards that good life, that best life. Okay? A life of meaning, a life of wealth, a life of stability. 9, see, there's you traveling. This is you on the road toward abundance. You're getting very close to massive abundance, probably financial abundance as well. There's the 5 of Wands in the environment. There's the Fool. And there's the 10 of Swords. Yes, you've freed yourself from the constraints of other people. You've freed yourself from anything or anyone that's making you feel small. You're saying no more. I feel like the next 2 weeks are going to change everything for you. The next 2 weeks, you're going to find you are getting so close to this massive abundance that you can taste it. This is this is fantastic, because you're going your own way. You're following a path with heart. Let's select our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. It's going to be right over here with our little sea turtle friend right there on top. Now, we're not going to look at that card until the very end. It will tie everything together. It will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any moment during this message you feel like you might know what that card might be, put your prediction in the comments right below the video. Okay. Now, as we look around the room, we see 1, 2 major Arcana cards. The Hierophant and the Fool, right? They're kind of opposites, right? This is the wise one. This is the Fool. This Fool is in the position of your fear, worry, and concern. Okay? So what it's telling me is that you really trust yourself right now, and that's a risk. That you're believing in your own opinion. You have a belief in yourself that you've never had before. You're following your own advice and the advice of your authentic self. The last thing you want to do is be a fool. The last thing that you want is to not know who you are, not know where you're going. Okay. The last thing you want is to maybe to embarrass yourself. Okay. So the Hierophant really is like there's a lot of trust here. Belief in yourself. Okay. And maybe the Fool is over here saying like, I don't care what other people think of me. I'm trying, and that maybe is something that you've been working on. Try not to care what other people think. Try not to worry about how other people might be viewing me. Because I know I'm doing the right thing. You know you're doing the right thing. It doesn't matter what other people think or say. It doesn't matter what their opinions are of you. Because they don't know you. They don't know what you know. They don't know what you're doing. They have those opinions of you because they can't do what you're doing. They're just jealous that they don't have that faith in themselves like you do. Okay? So in some ways, we don't care if we're the fool. If other people see you as being a fool, fine. Good. You know? But at the same time, I feel like you want to make sure that your faith and your belief in yourself and your values are well-founded. So you're out there studying, researching, you're out there like, checking books out of the library and Googling all sorts of stuff. I mean, you're really studying, And so we've got fire, we've got water and water, we've got air and air, we've got earth, earth, earth. Yeah. I like the water here because this is telling me that you're listening to your heart and you're on that path. You're on that path with heart. You're on that quest for your holy grail. For your holy grail, right? And of course, the Fool is Parzival, right? The knight of the holy grail, the innocent fool, the innocent knight. But we'll start with our Hierophant, because the Hierophant is the wisdom, and it is your code, and it's you really like making the conscious decision to live by your own values. And you're choosing to live a life that feeds your soul. And yes, I think that you've probably been reading more like scripture or like holy texts lately, more sacred books. I feel like that's something that's been emphasized in your life recently. I think that you've been really leaning into your own spiritual practices, and maybe you come from a tradition or a culture, or even like an academic kind of thing, but you're making something your own. You're embodying the wisdom. You're embodying the teachings. Okay? You're living that path. You're not just, the armchair occultist or something, right? You're somebody who's really out there practicing what they preach. You're living, you're embodying that wisdom, embodying the teachings, okay? And I think that people in your life have given you advice that you didn't ask for. I feel like you put that behind you. And I think that you're kind of walking your talk. And I think that you are doing things your way, that it's not just ignorant, It is a well-researched and lived, and you have a wisdom that's born out of experience. So you're not the fool in the sense that you're just like out there skipping around, totally naive. You don't know what's going on. No, you've been through it. You know what you're doing. Okay? Even if other people don't know that you know that you know. So I think that you're trusting in yourself and you're doing things your way. I don't know exactly what it is that you're doing, but you know your choices are aligning with what feels sacred to you, and that's the important thing. That's your inner code. That's your building code. That you're going to build the life that you desire. And doesn't matter what other people think, because it's not their life. It's your life, okay? And I think that you've been, like I said, you've been leaning more into those spiritual or philosophical even practices that stabilize you, that reinforce you, okay? So your meditation, your prayer, your studies, your sacred movement, whatever it is, breathing exercises. You're aligned with that inner teacher kind of thing. Okay. Now the Knight of Cups here, the Knights are always looking at the future. So you're looking at the future. You're looking at who you are, where you are, and what you're doing down the road. And you're asking, is that the life I want? Is that the life I desire? Because you're choosing to create that life that you desire. This is your quest. It's nobody else's quest. Okay? This is a spiritual calling. This is your devotion to your future. The Knight is looking at the 10. Usually the 10 of Cups, right? And thinking, that's how I want my life to feel. Okay? And that's a very personal thing, you know. So follow the calling that keeps returning to your heart. That's what you're doing. Follow the path with heart. Pursue that Holy Grail. You're moving with grace, you're moving with intention, but you're not rushing. Your actions are guided by beauty and meaning and sincerity. And perhaps this is your commitment. Okay? And it may be a spiritual or creative commitment, a personal commitment, financial commitment. Yeah. And it might be even the choice for you to, in a way, this is an offering. We see the figure here is presenting this delicious crab curry thing to the world. It may be that you are making that sincere choice to follow your passion, to follow your heart. And whatever or whoever you are, whatever you've got inside of you, you're offering it to the world. It's your art. It's your creation. It's what makes you special. This is what you've got to offer the world. And I think you know what your gift is, and now you're out there trying to do it, trying to give it away. You're honoring your heart and your spirit. And I feel like you've heard the calling and you've answered the call. And the call is the soul's persistent invitation to live in alignment with what feels sacred. Hierophant. You're walking your talk, and you're doing it with grace. You're letting your heart lead. And I like it. 8 of Cups underneath the surface here. The 8 of Cups can be an emotional burnout. So I feel like what this is really the recognition that living somebody else's life is just not worth it. Living a life that is not your very own quest is very draining, soul-sucking, you know. And this is withdrawal. This is a quiet exit. And I feel like you've done that. You've withdrawn, or you've quietly exited from that life, that, I don't know, maybe that conformity, or that sort of, you know, that popularity contest kind of thing. I think that you very much recognize when something isn't satisfying your soul, you need to move away from it. So you have this is like your barometer. This is that internal kind of weather station thing, that sensor that we have inside. And when you start to feel this thing kind of, you know, you start to feel the pressure drop or whatever, you kind of know that, okay, I might be straying far from my true north. So in a way, this is that internal compass. I kind of like the spiritual barometer a little bit better. So you can feel it when your soul is pressuring you to move in a new direction, because obviously your soul is kind of saying that where we were wasn't quite good for us. We need to make a little bit of an adjustment. We need to go forward in this new kind of way, this new direction, and that's going to put you back in the green, you know. So I like this card here. I think that this is you not willing to pretend that you care about something when you really don't. Okay. This is you withdrawing from things that don't feel true anymore. Releasing what is empty. You're not forcing enthusiasm. You're being very honest about how you feel. You have this ability inside of you to walk away from anything that feels draining. A habit, a situation, a dynamic, any kind of relationship or environment. Okay. This is you being very aware of how you feel and trusting that feeling. Because this is under the surface here. This is coming from inside of you. And this is Saturn in Pisces. So this is that part of you that kind of constricts when something isn't right. Yeah. And so this is a wonderful kind of, again, that spiritual barometer. Now in the background, we've got the Seven of Swords. This is other people's opinions. This is just distractions too, let's say. This is futility. This for you is the futility of trying to follow any other path than the right one. Any other path that you're on is going to feel like this. It's futile. It's futile for you to try to force something that's not meant for you. And sometimes we do that because, well, that's what other people are doing. I want to be like everybody. I want people to like me. I want to fit in. I want to impress people. Nah, we're done with all that. There is no path for you that's going to work except for the right one. So sometimes, you know, the Seven of Swords is us trying too many different things. I try to go down that road and I felt my Eight of Cups. I try to go down that road, I felt my Eight of Cups. I'm going down that road and, hey, wait a minute. That one feels right. That one feels good. That's the right one, you know. So it's futility. It's the futility of you trying to force yourself to do something that is not in alignment with your soul. And so it keeps it very simple, you know. This is also you really like being done with somebody's opinions. I don't know who exactly, but they're just, someone's been trying to tell you what to do. Someone's been giving you the advice. You should do this, you should do that. You say, nah, I don't need that, you know, I don't need that wisdom from you, right? Because they don't know you. They don't know what's in your soul. I think that you're very open to learning and asking questions and gaining new information. But you're not going to put up with somebody just telling you what you should do, like they know you better than you know yourself. Yeah. And so the Seven of Swords is a lot of other people's opinions, a lot of haters, a lot of naysayers, and you're choosing to, maybe just even be more private. You're choosing to perhaps to keep more of your plans to yourself. Yeah. You're realizing that being divided into too many different people, even, isn't going to work for you. So the Seven of Swords maybe is trying to do too many things at once, trying to live too many different lives at the same time. So you've stopped scattering your mind. You've stopped with the doubt. You've chosen your quest, and you're giving it your full attention. And I think it's gonna blossom beautifully. Okay? Because right now it's the Princess of Pentacles. Right now it's potential. Right now it's seeds that are being planted. But very soon, it is going to blossom into this full-on 10 of Pentacles wealth, right? So up above here, this is the Princess. This is the potential. This is the card that will eventually transform into the Empress card. But this is, the beginning. This is you having patience, planting the seeds, tending to it, and watching something grow, right? This is you treating your life like a garden. You're planting, you're watering, you're watching and waiting. Okay. And this might be that new investment. It might be the new job, the new skill, the new health focus, whatever the new goal might be, the new lifestyle, the new quest, the new path, the new garden. Okay. And you're nurturing that. Okay. And you are learning about it. You're studying it, because it's going to grow into something really, really, really stable. The princesses, like the princes of the tarot, are focused on the present moment. So this is you kind of stepping into your path and saying, this is where I'm starting. This is what it looks like now. If I keep showing up every day and keep building on this, it's going to really become something stable and long-term, and something very abundant. Okay, you got to plant the seeds before you can collect the harvest. Yeah, and this potential becomes reality through your patient and embodied care and your commitment and your devotion. Yeah, so this is you kind of being a beginner and stepping into this path as the Fool, saying, I don't know much about this. Maybe you started something and you had zero knowledge of it, zero experience. You're just completely green and just said, I'm going to learn this and I'm going to figure it out, and it's going to grow into something great. Maybe you went into it with already an idea of what it was or how to do it, or you have some experience before, or whatever. I feel like it's something that's like it's a natural talent or a natural interest that you have. It feels like it's a passion of yours, even though there might be some, technical details that you've got to learn still. Okay. Now, in the future position, that 10 of Pentacles, wealth, long-term security, the accumulation of that long-term wealth. This is the business. This is the home, the family. This is the money. This is the financial abundance. Okay, this is your investment really bearing fruit, maturing. This is who you are and where you are and what you're doing down the road. And the Knight of Cups is making sure that this is actually what you desire, because you've been taking actions that are supporting your future in a real concrete way. This is your long-term stability. Yeah. And I think you're very, very close to this. Now, this is wealth, but it's not just money. It's health, it's time, it's relationships, it's the knowledge. Okay? This is the resources, time, effort, energy, money, space, and spirit. So what kind of future self are you building toward? Wealth is the collection, or the accumulation of meaning and responsibility. Okay. So not only do you have goals, but you have the right goals. And I think you have the right frame of mind to accomplish these goals in a major way. Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. These readings are totally free, and it's a great way to support the channel. Your general energy here, Path of the Serpent, 9 of Pentacles, gain. This is the path that you're traveling. This is a 9. It's a verb. It's a function. This is you walking the path and feeling independent, feeling self-sufficient, feeling that the journey itself is the reward, you know. But this is also a card of gain. So it's a very practical income. It's money. It's resource. It's opportunities. I feel like right now you have the ability to attract all those things to you. Because you got your mind right. Because you're thinking correctly. And you're feeling correctly. As you are that Hierophant, I think that you're magnetic. I think money is coming your way, resources, people, places, and things. And I think that you understand how to enjoy the comfort that you create. I think that you are investing in yourself, investing in your health, giving yourself the tools that you need, giving yourself the environment that you need to continue to be successful. Maybe take a moment and acknowledge how far you've already come. Okay. This is you noticing improvement. You are improving. Your knowledge is growing. Your skills are growing and improving. Your financial situation is improving. Look at the numbers. They're getting bigger, right? Maybe not as fast as you would like, of course, but they are getting bigger. So continue to strengthen that independence, but maybe pause and look around and acknowledge that things are getting better. Things are improving. Continue learning the skills, continue focusing on the finances, continue strengthening and building whatever this is in your life. Okay? And the thing is, we can practice gratitude for our life, you know. We don't have to compare ourselves to other people. Because this is, you are progressing. You are growing stronger and more independent, like your knowledge is growing, or your finances are growing, or your health is improving. Things are getting better. Don't compare yourself to other people, because then we kind of get discouraged. Oh, there's somebody over there. They're so much smarter than me, or they've got more money than I do, or they've gotten further up the mountain to their goal than I have. Darn it. That's not the way to motivate yourself, is it? So we've got to be grateful, but let's not compare ourselves. Okay? Anchor your identity as that Hierophant and admit, I want you to type in the comments, you're someone who can create stability and abundance. Say, I create abundance. Put it in the comments, please. Claim this immediately. I create abundance. Yeah, so do other people. Maybe other people do it faster. Maybe other people have more. Maybe they started with more. I don't know. It doesn't matter. You create abundance. So enjoy it and allow yourself to see yourself as someone that creates stability. I create stability. I create abundance. Yeah. Now, the 5 of Wands is in your environment. I think there are a lot of occasions to compare. There are a lot of opportunities for you to fight and get embroiled in competition with other people. I feel like you're kind of trying to avoid that. The Saturn in Leo aspect of this card is telling me that you're probably trying to avoid as many conflicts as possible. Okay? Because we don't, there's always an opportunity to compete with somebody. And I don't think you care to compete with anybody right now. You're the Hierophant. The Hierophant doesn't have to compete with anybody. Neither does the Emperor, right? It doesn't have to compete with anybody. Because, there's always somebody stronger. You think of someone like boxers or like wrestlers or something, right? Or like MMA people. There's always someone that could kick your butt. Always. I don't care how strong you are, how tough you are. There's always someone that can kick your butt. So what's the point? Don't feel as if you have anything to prove. At the same time, you're not backing down. You're trying to avoid and you're trying to disengage and you're trying to disarm conflict as much as you can. But you're not going to, if worse comes to worse, you're going to advocate for yourself and you're going to stand up for yourself. Sure. Maybe right now somebody else's energy feels very competitive. And you're trying to just, avoid that noise. Yeah. But you will stand up for yourself if you need to. And sometimes a little bit of friendly competition might be good if it's a way to sharpen your skills and, but not to prove your worth. Because remember, you already know, you've already acknowledged that you create stability and you create abundance. You don't need to prove that. You certainly don't need to compete with anybody else. There's plenty of abundance for everybody. So you're not competing with anybody except perhaps who you were yesterday. I think you've come a long way. Okay. And anyway, this is with the Saturn energy here. I feel like this is telling you that less is more. Okay. Less fighting, less friction, less competition where you can. We don't want something to escalate. We don't want to get entangled in this kind of competitive drama. Okay. But again, sometimes, if it's used the right way, sometimes putting yourself to the test is a good way to sharpen your skills. But as long as you're doing it for the right reasons, basically, sometimes conflict is a way for you to strengthen yourself and to, it's the same way that you're learning jiu-jitsu. Yeah, you might go and compete against other people just to really kind of test where you are and say, okay, what do I need to learn? How do I need to grow? How do I need to sharpen my skills? How can I improve? You're constantly improving. Maybe through the right kind of conflict, the right kind of competition is a great way to improve. Just be mindful, okay? And make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Not to prove anything, but just to improve. To improve, not prove, right? Anyway, the Fool here is the fear, worry, concern. And I can see how you might be drawn toward competition because you want to there might be like that instinct to prove something. I got to prove that I actually belong here and that I'm not just, an ignorant fool. And I can do that by going and fighting with other people because then I'll prove that I really am the Hierophant. Or I need to go out and argue with people so that I can prove that I know what I'm talking about and I'm not just an ignorant fool. So let's be careful of that though. Okay, let's maybe avoid that. That just seems like a major distraction from what's really important to you. And I guess you have to ask, that what is the role of competition for you right now? Is it helping you to get to the life you want? Or is it a distraction, something back here that's it's unnecessary? Okay. I think the Fool is also you, as you kind of started this new path, you took a risk, you took a leap. And it was a leap of faith. I think that you put a lot of trust into yourself. And you said yes to what you believed in. Rather than repeating the old script and kind of living the old identity, I feel like you took a chance and you kind of like reinvented yourself. And I think that the Fool has really gotten out of that birdcage. The Fool has said, I'm not repeating that story anymore. And it may be that you don't have to keep yourself small by repeating the old script. I think you said yes to something that felt scary. Life outside of the birdcage is pretty scary, you know. You let go of that old identity or that old narrative, that old belief system, that old structure. I think also like you're trying to allow yourself to keep moving forward, even when you don't know the answers. Because one of the risks of the Hierophant is like the know-it-all, you know. The Fool is the I know nothing. The Hierophant is I know everything. So we see that there's kind of a conflict here between I know nothing and I know everything. And I think it's good that we have both of these cards, because you are the master, but you're also the student. Wisdom is knowing your own ignorance. You got to know what you don't know, you know. And so I like this, because to me it keeps you balanced. That you don't take yourself so seriously that you have this really stuffy, intellectual, pseudo-intellectual, I know everything kind of thing, that you can be silly, that you can play and have fun, and you can say, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm doing it anyway, because I'm open to learning. The Fool is also a sponge. The Fool is going to absorb all the knowledge, okay? And so you're perpetually like, maybe challenging your own knowledge or what you think you know and learning new information. So you're very open. And you are growing in true wisdom. Not just knowledge, but true wisdom. So keep your Fool. And be comfortable as the Fool. You know, it's kind of like you're a college professor and you're just going to you're going to an introductory class somewhere and you're saying, I don't know anything, teach me. Kind of like intentionally putting ourselves back in student mode. Beginner mind, right? Beginner mind. And having that beginner mind is allowing you to pay attention and absorb so much that you are growing in your wisdom, big time, okay? And that's, I think, a big part of our Ten of Swords, too, because this is like whatever you thought you knew, you're realizing that there are gaps in your knowledge. And just like there's always somebody stronger than you, there's always somebody that can kick your butt, there's always something you don't know about something, yeah? And so the 10, to me, is usually a bird cage. And it's usually us getting out of a bird cage. So we're recognizing that, you know, I always need to be learning. I always need to be growing and improving something, whether it's financial, mental, emotional, you know, actual like data and wisdom or skills or whatever it might be, that there's really no place where we're just like, okay, I'm done. You know, I'm done. I don't need to learn anymore. I don't need to study anymore. I don't need to think anymore. My worldview or my database is already complete. No, it's never complete. It's never complete. And I think that's how we keep ourselves healthy and how we keep ourselves young, is by continuing to learn. Every day we should learn something new, right? Every week or every month or every year we should say, I'm going to start something new that I've never done before, and I'm going to learn it. Learning new skills, learning new information, meeting new people, learning new people's names, you know, like simple stuff. But for you specifically, I think the Ten of Swords is your decision that you made to not limit yourself and to get out there into the world and do the new thing, learn the new thing, follow that path with heart, follow that Knight of Cups passion and that quest, and you know, and go after that thing that you're interested in, and learn it and improve upon it, develop it, grow it, whatever it is. This is the old life that's kind of, you know, that was holding you back. This is a mental structure that is not necessarily collapsing, but I think you're realizing that, like, you know, it's not complete. Okay, usually this is like an orange that we've squeezed all the juice out of it. I feel like in your case, this is you trying to add flesh to the bones. That you've gotten already like kind of a bare bones structure of something. Now you're just trying to flesh it out more fully, more completely. You're trying to improve upon it and grow it and build it up. You know, it's kind of like you're doing a sculpture and you start with just wires. And then on those wires, you're starting to add clay and molding the clay around the wires until eventually you're going to have like a lifelike human replica or whatever, you know, I don't know if you do that sort of thing. But you're slowly filling in the gaps. You're slowly adding flesh to those bones, adding clay to the underlying like wire structure. Yeah. So I like this because I think that this is you realizing that, you know, you need to follow your heart and go forward because that's going to improve the quality of your life. That's going to make life much more meaningful for you. Let's look at the mystery card. Maybe an Ace of Cups. I feel like it should be some water because we don't have a lot of it. I feel like we need some more water, good water. If you have a prediction, please put it in the comments. Here we go. The Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, so this is that seed that you're planting. This is that new, whatever the heck thing it was or is. Maybe you haven't quite done it yet, but you're going to. This is a gift from Spirit. Spirit is giving you a gift. It's a ticket to ride. Saying this is what you want to do. Your heart wants to do it. You know, and so do it. Plant the seed. Whether it's money, it's health, it's work, it's home, it's something for your body, right? You're taking that concrete step. You're going to open up the account. You're going to make the list. You're going to buy the tool, schedule the appointment, take the class. You're going to sign up for the thing. This is a practical opportunity for you. And now I think that I feel like you've already done this, you know, because I feel like you're very close to realizing the goal here. But tend to this seed. Yeah, tend to it. And keep your expectations realistic. Okay, it's not going to be an overnight. You don't just plant the seed, the next morning you go out there, you have a big apple tree. No, it's going to take time to grow, but this is something that is going to feed you for a long time. So continue to tend to this plant, and I think it will blossom into something long-term for you. Anyway, we're going to do an extended reading. Please click on the link in the corner. There's also a link in the video description. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you are the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.